Bring it back.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Car Mechanic Simulator. I'm Evo Loz, and today we're going to be rebuilding this Mazda MX5. So, this is, again I should say this is modded content. It's not one of the core game cars, so it's something you have to download. I'll put a link to the download on the Steam forums in the description below if you want to get this yourself. But it's been a really well done mod. I'm quite impressed, particularly with things like the engine bay layout. Moulded in a lot of the extra hoses and things that while you can't actually interact with them, pretty cool that the effort's been put in there. Even things like all the stickers under the bonnet, that sort of thing, pretty nicely done. I think it looks pretty good as a model on the whole. So for a start, I have basically replaced all the suspension and sort of the bodywork. Since I think it gets a bit boring just watching the suspension rebuilds over and over again. They're not particularly car specific. And they're just sort of fairly generic, so I didn't think there's any point in doing that. I have whipped the engine out, which we've got on a crane over here, rather rusty. So we're going to completely strip this down, repair some bits and put it back together. And we're going to have a go. Last week the tuning DLC was released for this game, which should allow us to increase the horsepower of the engine. This is the normally aspirated inline 4 from the Mazda. And we're going to have a try and get a bit more power out of that. So if we look at the car, the factory standard engine power is 114 horsepower. So let's see if we can get that up a little bit higher. So let's start dismantling this engine. Take off the throttle body, fuel rail first, and then the intake. So this is a pretty rusty engine, so it certainly wasn't probably producing the factory 114 horsepower. Probably significantly down on that, but we're going to try and see what we can get it up to. I've not actually had a go at doing any tuning in this game yet, so we'll be learning this one together. So it may all go wrong, but hopefully not. So we'll take out the camshaft first. I'm not sure whether the MX5 was actually a single overhead cam or whether it would have been a double overhead cam. I don't know that much about MX5s, to be honest. I don't even know what it is, but I think is it what, a 1.6 or 1.4? 1.6 I think, but feel free to correct me if you know your MX5s. It's not a car that I've ever really had much experience with, unfortunately. So we're taking off basically the auxiliary belts there. Take the crankshaft, pull it off, and then we should be able to get access to the timing cover to take the timing belt off. Oops, take the belt tension off first, then the timing belt can come off. There we go, and we've got the cam gear at the top, and we should then be able to take the camshaft out, which we can. So why can't I not remove what's blocking that? Ignition wires, and there should be a distribution box down the corner. Ignition coil, there we go. That out. And then the 4 spark plugs in the side. Like so. So then we can take the engine head off and bolt this to reveal the pistons. Then we want to come out, go to the engine stand and rotate this upside down. I should be able to take the oil filter off, and then we can take the sump off, and we'll take the rod caps off the pistons and take the pistons out. So we'll take off the 4 rod caps. 3. And the last one. And we can pull the, if I don't misclick, we can pull the pistons out. Like so. Can't take the crankshaft out yet until I take the clutch assembly off. So we've got the release bearing, the pressure plate, and then the actual clutch itself. Clutch plate, flywheel, then we just got the crankshaft caps or bearings, whatever you want to call them. Like so. Oops. And then the crankshaft should come out. Which it does. Then if I haven't missed anything, excellent. So we've disassembled the engine. So what we're going to do is hop over to the repair bench and just smash through everything here. Some of these bits are going to be replaced anyway by the sort of new tuning parts. From what I've seen, or seen sort of as I was preparing this video of the tuning parts, it seems kind of a little bit gimmicky. So like, you know, you add an alternator and it gives you 1% extra power. Well, obviously, that's just not really the case. But I think you just sort of have to take it for what it is. We'll also, once we've got this all back in and assembled, we'll have a look at the putting the car on the dyno, which is a new tool which was introduced with the last tuning DLC. Something again I've not used before, and we can hopefully see what the car's making, and then we can take it out for a quick spin on the test track. So some of these are new parts, some performance pistons. I didn't do any piston rings. Let me out of the engine block. Piston rings. Yeah, so the pistons are the new parts, which is nothing wrong with that per se. I guess it's kind of like forging the engine basically. So these should give increased performance. So let's drop in the 4 new pistons. Though you'll find that the performance parts are quite expensive. I don't mind because I've got a lot of money now, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're early on in the game, you might not want to be using performance parts randomly because it will cost you a lot of money. So let's get those pistons in like that, and then we should be able to put the sump back on the bottom. Like that. So let's hop back out of this mode, go to the engine stand and rotate it back round again. So we're back the right way up. So what we're going to do, head first. Yeah, let's do that. We'll put the head on. So this is another, again, this is a an improved engine head, performance head as it were. So we'll see what difference this makes. Oh, it's got some red valve covers. How exciting. Oh, it looks pretty cool, if nothing else, I guess, having red valve covers. So we'll stick the performance camshaft as well. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is there. Maybe a more aggressive cam profile. It's kind of like having a VTEC, I guess. I didn't get any camshaft caps. So I try and prepare these videos beforehand by remembering these sort of things, but it just often doesn't really happen. 6, so we know we've got enough. Hop back over and get these camshaft caps in. I know, I'm thinking of other things I've forgotten as well. Like, I know I've forgotten the cam gear because they're one of the items in this game that just doesn't get repaired on the repair bench. So we'll need to buy a new one of them. So now that we've got the camshaft secured, let's have a look. Cam gear, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Bear with me. That one. Hop back out. Now let's see if I've remembered the stuff for the timing gear. Nope, because I forgot the timing belt. Oh my god. Well, I'm not doing very well. So, timing belt, single overhead cam. So let's get that mounted on, then we should be able to put the belt cover back on. Oh, the belt tensioner. Oh dear. So, belt tensioner. Get one of them. A pretty important part. We don't want the timing belt to skip any teeth and ruin our lovely new red valves. So we'll sit the timing cover back on, crankshaft pulley, bolt that back in, idle roller, and that back in. Then we've got the various sort of ancillary parts, power steering, water pump, pretty important, and the alternator. Performance alternator, I'm not entirely sure of the point in that, but there we go. And then we'll stick on the auxiliary belts, like so. So we'll pop back over, put the engine head back on, engine head cover really, bolt that into place. Then we'll put the intake and the throttle assembly, fuel filter there. Oh, we've even got a racing fuel filter, which is hovering as usual. Racing ignition coil. I must admit some of these red parts do look pretty cool. I'm quite liking them. We've also got some some premium spark plugs. Which again, they've gone to town a little bit on the detail. It's kind of, yeah, kind of makes them look a little cool. I've even got some nice red HT leads, which is pretty nice there. Intake manifold did not repair. Inline 4 direct injection. Yeah, it's not multi-point injection. Oh, it is a multi-point injection. Oh. Okay, messed that up. That one instead. So bolt the intake manifold on, and the throttle body just on the end. Oh, it's a premium throttle body. Oh, look at that! Nice little shiny red valve there. I think we've even got a premium injector rail, which we have. So let's stick the flywheel back on. Of course, a lightened racing flywheel. A premium clutch plate. Premium pressure plate. I'm not sure quite how a clutch assembly increases horsepower, but there we go. Oh, I didn't get a clutch release bearing. So let's just get one of them. Like so. And put that back on. So hopefully that should be everything. If I've not missed anything, which I don't think I have. So the performance parts, some of them are a little bit suspect in terms of their sort of accuracy, I guess. But all in all, I guess the red does give a nice little sort of bit of colour to the engine, makes it look a bit more tuned. So we'll take the engine off the crane. I have to go over here with my Dyno MX5, which was used for a lot of the parts of this build. We'll move this piece of equipment over to car lifter A. So we'll use the engine crane to drop the new engine into the car. There we go, so we've got a shiny new engine in. So it's what we're going to have to do is put this thing up on the crane, go underneath. So we've got the front exhaust section, of which we have a sort of a super shiny bit. A gearbox, just a standard gearbox. Hopefully you can't shred a gearbox in this. Starter motor and all that's going to have to be put in from the engine bay, and obviously the drive shaft because it's a rear wheel drive car. Power to the rear differential. So then I'm going to hop out. We're going to go around and put the wheels on. Like so. And the last one. Like so. Awesome. So we're going to load this thing back down. So we're just going to put the starter motor back on and the exhaust manifold. So yeah, as I said at the start, guys, I guess it's not a perfect MX5. It's because it's a modded content, it's just sort of a donor engine which someone has made use of that's already in the game, rather than designing an entire block themselves. But still, it's a pretty cool. It looks like an MX5, and it's a pretty cool little way of doing it. I quite like the colour, so I don't think we're going to hit the paint shop. There aren't any liveries for this mod, so let's take it straight to the dyno if we can. Dyno. No oil in the engine. Let's not go to the dyno, let's put some oil in the engine. Let's do that like so. Glug, 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 glug. Takes a lot. There we go. Now let's move car to the dyno. There we go, it worked this time, so I've obviously got everything in properly. So let's head over to the dyno and let's have a go on this. I've not used this before, so see how this works. So we had 115, I believe, to start with. Let's see what it's producing now. 114 was the start. So let's run the dyno test. Well, at least it's got the... they've managed to manufacture the game where they've realised when there's a difference between rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive cars. It's a good start. So 154. It's a reasonable game, I suppose. Yeah, quite a lot of torque. 232 foot-pound. Oh, newton meters, not foot-pound. Pretty reasonable. So let's take. I'm pretty pleased with that change. Let's move this car to the garage front. Go to entrance A. Or should we go? No, we'll give it a quick paint. I'm just thinking. For some reason, the only person I know who with an MX5 is that Ethan from Car Throttle. So let's give it to the paint shop and we'll paint it red because I think his MX5 is red, and why not? Paint car. So let's have a look. Ooh, wow. How does colour mixing work? So that's kind of ready. Oh wow, that's very ready. Oh, that's a bit too red. It doesn't quite look like factory red, I don't think. Try and... no, it's a little bit too pink. I think we'll go with that. That's pretty nice. A nice red MX5. Awesome. Right, let's hit the track and see what we can do. Bearing in mind I'm going to be driving this with a keyboard, so this is not going to go very well. We'll see if we can do this without smashing into 1,000 walls on the way. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this sort of modded car content, guys. It's a little bit different than the base game. There aren't that many cars in the base game that I sort of enjoy making, so I've been quite enjoying doing this modded content. And some really high quality mods out there, given what people have got to create them with. So I think they've largely been done pretty well. I certainly... ooh, a little bit twitchy. It gets off the line fairly well. Oh, I think the suspension might be a little soft. Oh, hey. Woohoo. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. It's something a little bit different. You know, we don't get many Mazdas modded content wise. If you have enjoyed it, please like, comment or subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thanks guys, and I shall see you on the next one.